Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Fastest Pastor here. Just got back from my first weekend of tire testing at Pikes Peak International Hill Climb up on Pikes Peak, America's Mountain. Absolutely beautiful. This is part 5 of our group interview of the PPIHC team. I intentionally waited until I got to experience firsthand some of the racing, some of the practice procedures and everything else. This video is going to touch on the fan interface. It's going to touch on the safety, the practice and qualifying, how they break up the mountain, how that goes, and it's pretty cool. And we're also going to be talking about, in addition to safety, is some of the unfortunates. And I asked the question about deaths on the hill, and I'll admit, when I saw the looks on their face, and you'll be able to see it in the video, you'll be able to see their demeanor change, it broke my heart because I knew it broke their hearts. And so you've got a group of people here that truly do care about the racers and the fans. And I certainly got to experience that on the weekend, this weekend during tire testing. The mountain has its own environment, and all I witnessed was fellow racers watching out for each other, and more importantly was Randy and Dan and Daniel and all those guys getting together to make sure that they had a safe environment for us to tire test. And so there were sections of the hill, of the mountain, that we weren't able to practice on because safety came first, and we dealt with a lot of different environment. I mean, on day 2, I had ice on my wing. So I purposely waited for this part 5 interview until after a weekend of practice. Super awesome to fulfill a dream of mine. As you can see, I'm still smiling. And so just wanted to let you guys see this. So stay tuned. Coming up, part 5, the last part of our PPIHC group interview. God bless you guys. Love you guys. As we continue on here, we've covered a lot, and we're getting there, but there's a few things that I've had some questions from people I've seen the videos, like practice. Can spectators come to practice day?
Sure. So it is very so practice days are very limited spectator-wise. Honestly, we limited about to 50 people. So and here's the reason. People always want to know the why. For race day, we're fully, we have all of the final fencing up, we have all the law enforcement, and we have everything in place. We're geared up, we have all the ambulances, we have all the fire trucks. For practice days, it's a little bit limited. It's from 5:30 in the morning till 8:30 in the morning.
You caught that right.
And we don't have all of the resources up there like it's race day.
They're not
available. So we limit the amount of spectators, and they do have to view from different areas. But there is still a lot of people up there because all the team's crew and media are allowed up there. So practice days, yes, it's very limited, and we do sell out every year. So if you want to go to practice, sign up today. Or
online ticket sales only. So you can purchase them off our website.
Yep.
So again, we'll put a link down there for that. Practice days, online only. That's the only place you can buy your tickets. You're gonna want to get it done sooner than later. Talking about practice, so I've also got a lot of questions like, do you have to qualify for the race? Like, just because you got accepted, does that mean you get to instantly race on Sunday?
No. Basically, the practice days, we split the mountain into thirds. There's 2 car groups and a motorcycle group, and they rotate. There's 4 days of practice. So there's one day where the group that's in the bottom, usually the bottom section, so from the start line to just below Glen Cove, is the qualifying section. The one day, there's no qualifying. It's just an extra day we threw in there to give people more repetition.
That's the Friday.
On the mountain. That's
the
Friday.
The Friday's kind of more of an optional day, test and tune if you want it. Some people would prefer to work on their vehicle instead of practicing. Some people want as much track time as possible. So the Friday is the optional day. So it's Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
And so whatever group is in the bottom section, the first day, that would be their qualifying day. Okay, and then the next day they would go to the middle section and the top group would come down. So that would be their qualifying day. So they just rotate between those 3 days, and your day in the bottom section is when you have to qualify.
And the qualifying helps us set the run order. Right. So our run order is completely for, I'll explain the motorcycles in a second, but for the cars, it's fastest to slowest based on qualifying time. And we do that for a lot of reasons, but and we've had hours and hours and hours of internal debate on the run order, and no matter what, we keep going back to this, is that we believe that if you qualify the fastest, you should have the best course conditions that we think are going to be the best possible. And so weather typically moves towards the end of the day. And last year weather was moving in at 10:15. I mean, you never really know.
We couldn't even see the summit at 8.
And then in the morning, it fluctuates so much, but historically speaking, weather moves in towards the end of the day. And so we believe that if you qualify the fastest, you get the best shot at a clean road without weather. And so we run the motorcycles first, and that's a question that we get a lot too. Is a lot of the car competitors ask why do the motorcycles never get to run after? And again, it goes back to a lot of different reasons, but the biggest one, and after internal discussions, is safety.
Yeah, they have 2 tires.
They have 2 tires
No cage.
and safety. So if they're running in weather, they have 2 tires and no cage. And additionally, we've seen oil spills from cars and or gravel that's kicked up, and that a motorcycle hitting an oil spill is way different than a car hitting an oil spill. And we clean up the track as best possible, but it's strictly comes down to safety. So we run the motorcycles actually slowest to fastest because a lot of the research that we've done and whatnot with the tire temperatures and the weather in the morning, or the coldness of the pavement in the morning. So the idea is that the fastest motorcycles and the fastest cars will be in the same window, and they get the best. And we believe that that's fair because that's what their machine and they fought for to get that window.
Well, and that makes sense, and that's the other thing. People hear me preach this all the time. Us as racers, when we sign up to agree to the rules, you guys can do it however you want. We've agreed to it. So when we roll up into the pit area, we're here because we say, we agree with the way you run it. So don't argue with them on rules. I can't stand it.
You are my favorite. You can move up in the run order
Oh,
now.
man. Hey, all right. No, but that's one thing in short track racing that's always driving me nuts is, listen, we come through the pit gates, we agree to the rules, but somehow when someone's found with an infraction, all of a sudden they don't agree with them, right? Or if something was ran the way they didn't, and we've all been in racing, we've always gotten you always get a short end of the stick, you feel, at one time or another. But so don't complain, be thankful, and they put a lot of thought into this. So, and that's really interesting. It totally makes sense to me, right? I had no idea, didn't really question it. I'm not that kind of guy, but I'm like, I wonder why.
And it's evolved throughout the race, like we talked earlier. 20 years ago, we had 2 divisions.
Yeah.
So it wasn't an issue. But you start getting unlimited and open wheel, then when do you run them? If you keep them in divisions. And
we had that for a little while, but then we were running, fast electric vehicles got stuck at the end of the day. So we figured this is the fairest way to do it, so.
That totally makes sense.
Yeah, we don't run by division anymore, we just run fastest to slowest regardless of division. Where we used to, whoever had the fastest qualifying time, we let them pick when they wanted to run.
within their division.
And then their division would run, and then we would just run divisions around them. But now it just made more sense just to combine everything fastest to slowest regardless of divisions, and it actually helps the program flow better.
Good.
We have about 10 minutes, just so you know.
Okay.
Until the whole, so hit on whatever other questions are of most importance.
I can ask about the center down at the history.
Yeah, you can ask about the Summit House down there.
So I want to hit on this a little bit since we were talking about fans and everything else. So we got Fan Fest. Along with the fans is, Friday's Fan Fest, Sunday's race. Saturday, perfect time to go out and sightsee, right? Go catch up.
So we're really busy Saturday.
You guys are busy.
We don't get to
We
sightsee.
don't get to sightsee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
spectators, you can go do it, right?
Well, and spectators can actually go up to Pikes Peak. It's a toll road, 365 days out of the year, and then we borrow it from the city. Well, we rent it at a very expensive price from the city for one day out of the year. But you can go up and pay the gateway fee and go through and drive the course, and you can see the setup. And that's what's really unique is even on race day, getting everyone in place for the event is a challenge. So we have.
Because it opens at what time Sunday morning? 4:30?
No, 2:30 a.m.
2:30 a.m. for spectators. And tell us why.
We need to get everyone in place. Again, it's just one road up, so we need to get everyone in place and situated so that we can clear the course and have a green flag at 7:30 a.m. So that is the goal. That's why we do it so early, and it does take that long. We count I mean, we know we're not limited so much on the number of people. We are, but basically we're limited on the number of cars that we know that can park above the start line.
Yep.
So that's how we know.
Took 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, we literally have someone counting the number of cars that go through the start line. So that's how we know, because as the parking lots fill up, eventually we would have nowhere else to put the spectator vehicles because there's no room. So we're counting so that, and they fill up, and then we shut the start line down when that number of cars has gone up.
Right.
So that we know, so we can get, our goal is to get the green flag dropped at 7:30 unless something's pending weather or something along those lines. So, so you can drive it on Saturday in the daylight where you can see, check it out.
At the proper
Speed limit
speeds.
speeds, and then
What's that?
Sunday morning it's all about, I get up there early, get set up, sleep in your car if you need to, but that's why we open it so early, to try to get everyone in place.
Totally makes sense. As we sit here and wrap up, I mean, obviously we had a few questions we didn't hit on, which, you know, that's okay. The big one that I hear from everybody, right? Everybody looks on YouTube, and the first thing they see are all the cars going off the edge, right? You get all the crash compilations of everybody going off the edge, and so, you know, I get my mom crying, you know, I got my aunts and everybody else. But I mean, we do hear it's the second oldest race in America, but it's always tagged after that the most dangerous race in America, right? And I get where people are coming from, but statistically, you guys have done pretty well. Deaths, have there been any deaths race day on the competitor side?
Race day?
Yep.
Yeah,
3.
there's been, and we've all worked together through 2 fatalities in the last 8 years.
Right.
1 race day.
One Bobby
race day,
Gooden
one was practice
and one
day.
was practice day. And I think, you know, people would say, oh, the crashes and all that is good for the organization. I know all of us being a part of that, there is nothing worse in the history of putting on events and having those wives, that just, their families broken. I mean, it's literally the worst possible thing. And I wake up anytime we're running up there, but just, I hope everyone stays safe. And that's the competitors, that's there's media everywhere. It's everybody, and it's terrifying. Now, I am really happy with the track record. Obviously, I think we all are. But that's just it's like, it breaks your heart. It still does. We think about it all the time, and there's nothing worse.
And that's why Tex really focuses on safety. You know, like Randy said, we don't have any 2 of the cars that are the same, so we don't have templates. We don't have, you know, so our main focus is on, and there again, bikes, I mean, that's a whole different thing,
Right.
because they don't have any safety system around them, but that's why we have, you know, not allowed the clip-on type handlebars, the regular race bikes, you know, the upright, it's been proven that the upright handlebars, they have more control.
Right.
You know, so there's certain styles that we don't allow, but on the car side of it, you know, we're looking at, you know, the roll cage system, the fire extinguishers, you know, the system up as far as that goes. You know, basically everything that we really focus on at Tech is safety related. You know, we do have some differences between the divisions, just so we don't have, you know, we try to limit the amount of creep. You know, we don't want, you know, the time attack ones flowing into the unlimited vehicles. You know, we want to try and keep that separate, but safety is paramount, just like any racetrack. But this isn't a closed course. You know, we don't have safer barriers. We don't have, you know, you're going to go off into the grass, you know, on the infield of the oval. You know, we don't have that. If you go off, you've got trees, you've got rocks, we've got wildlife up there. You know, so, you know, we do everything we can to just focus on the safety of the event.
Yeah.
So what do you think about it?
Well, here's
That's
what,
from the competitor standpoint.
from the competitor standpoint of it, I'm a little bit different than most, right? I don't have a lot of fear, but I'm a calculated man, right? I calculate risk all the time in my head. To me, when I look at it, you guys actually have a better safety record than any other race that's been running this long. You look at the decades you guys have been running, there is a lot of risk with this, right? Like, someone asked, well, do they put guardrails up for the race? And I just kind of chuckled, like, no, I think the handful that are up there is all you get, right? But you really do have an impeccable record, and I think, you know, you look at Bonneville Salt Flats, that's one that runs once a year. I mean, that's a place that they've superseded the number of fatalities there. And that is, it's a heartbreaking, and I can tell by your guys' demeanor here that it breaks your heart. It breaks anybody's heart, right? And so for me, I think it really comes down to, that's why you guys have the selection process. That's why you have the rules.
Yeah.
If, you know, we've read through that rule book. I don't understand everything, but that's why I've got KMR, right? They're the areas I don't know about, they're focusing on, but I get the safety. You know, why the halos have to be there, why the pipe is that size, why you're gonna look at those welds. You guys do everything you can, and in instances it just is what it is, but here's the deal. I can leave this place today and I could die. Just as easy as I could on the side of that mountain. That's the way I look at it. So I can, on that mountain, I control more than I do going down the highway.
Yeah.
So I feel pretty good about it. And I feel great about your guys' safety record and where you're at. And so I think the spectators can go knowing that there's going to be a good show.
Yeah.
I know we're going to continue to do what we do. With me being a faith-based man, I'm going to keep praying for safety for everybody for this whole endeavor. So I'm super excited. You guys, I really appreciate your time. I hope you guys get something out of this video. I'll probably parse it off in a few sections. Is there anything while we close here that you guys like? You know, I think we tried to hit up all the myths, right? That's why I asked this question about the fatalities and stuff. And stop watching the crash videos, people.
Well, I think the biggest thing that I want people to know is, you know, customer service is really, really important to everyone in the organization. What I mean by that is if it's the spectators or media or their competitors, we're a small group, but we work really hard to answer all these questions. And so when in doubt, just ask us. I think that that's one of the things people that sometimes don't understand why we do what we do. Like, we've thought through it all. I mean, you should see the list of feedback notes after each year and like the little things we try to change to fix it, to enhance it. Like, we are doing this all for the competitors and the fans, and we are trying, you know, so if there's questions, just reach out. We return every phone call and we respond to every email. And if you have a question about the roll cage, like, ask why. We have nothing to hide. We're as transparent as an organization as possible. And so don't be afraid to, if you have technical questions, to ask. And we've thought through a lot, and then there's logistical challenges that our event has that, because we don't own our racetrack, that a lot of other events don't have to have. But we can explain that, and we're open if people, I mean, we change and tweak things every single year to try to make this event better.
Yeah, and that's huge. And again, if you would like to see Pikes Peak maybe be more than one day, they'd be glad to take a check from you to help cover those costs.
$1.4 million, please.
$1.4 million would take care of that.
Yeah.
Seriously, Dan, Megan, Randy, Dan, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. I think we'll be back, because obviously as I'm sitting here interviewing you guys, I've got more questions. And
we can talk today.
Well, that's what I tell a lot of people interviewing. Again, I've got to see it as many of us have. And Megan's been to a couple other races. Sitting in turn 2 at Indy, you have 2,000 other people that are seeing the same race you are. There are no 2 people on Pikes Peak that see the same event.
Yeah.
Even
awesome.
with my officials when they're talking to me on the radio, it's not like another race director where I'm in a tower and I can see the whole thing. I'm relying on their words. So, and even the spectators, they're at different areas, they see a completely different event. And so we try to help them out as best we can.
Yeah, I love that. And it's like a fingerprint, right? It's going to be unique for everybody.
Right.
It's going to be your own experience and different.
Exactly.
And so, well, you guys, thank you so much for your time. You guys, fastest pastor, here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you guys with a list of information. There's going to be, again, I'm going to roll across some of the links to some of the information we talked about for the fan base and everything else. Reserve your hotel rooms, partly because I think my team alone has probably taken a fourth of them already. So
the city's filling up,
yeah,
for real.
It's
Reserve them now.
It's getting hectic. So get them filled. Get your tickets placed now to fly into Denver or Colorado Springs, wherever you want to fly into. Come support. We're going to be talking here. You guys are going to see some other sessions. We're going to talk about the history of Pikes Peak. We're going to talk about the new project going on at Pikes Peak, which I'm excited about, and which us teams are trying to raise money to help do. So God bless you guys. Love you guys. Take care.